Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Event Industry News podcast with me, James Dixon, wishing you all a very good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever or wherever you tune into today's podcast from. And I'm excited because I'm actually sat in something that looks like a studio today, rather than being sat at home in my living room at an upright piano with my laptop balance on top of it, which is my usual podcast setup. We're in an actual place today, and we're in an actual place because 2025 marks the 15th anniversary of Event Industry News. Event Industry News was conceived, it was started, and it spent its formative years right here in the great city of Sheffield, which is where we are recording today. And facilitating our actual in-person, sat round a table podcast today are the team at Stream 7. Today's podcast has been recorded from the HQ of Stream 7. They are premium event live streaming, stunning visuals and immersive experiences. Stream 7 has been at the forefront of event broadcasting for over a decade. Its experienced team combines cutting-edge technology with industry expertise to generate worldwide reach and connect audiences with your event. For more information, visit stream7.co.uk. And thanks again for them and for the great cups of tea that I've had this morning so far. We're going to commit that to the recording. So, if you are listening to today's podcast, may I maybe suggest, for context, by all means continue listening if you're out and about walking your dog or doing something like that. But if you've got the ability to hop over to eventindustrynews.com, why don't you hop over there? Because the team at Stream 7 have got a great camera setup here. We're filming today's episode really professionally, unlike the little webcam that usually sits on my camera. So you can see all of our guests today, and we're going to meet them. We're going to have a bit of a chat today with 4 people who are all, I think, members of the Network of Women in Events, but it's not strictly speaking, a NOWIE sort of panel or discussion today. We're just going to be finding a little bit about my guests today, what they do in the industry, and having a bit of a chat around the table, really. So let's start. To my left, Lia Baron, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do in the industry.
Hi, thanks so much. Currently I am a venue manager for Supermassive, which is a immersive space in centre of Manchester. So I'm the venue and site manager for that. But I started way back when initially doing world music nights while studying art history at uni. And then I had my own entertainment agency, so kind of creative production. From having an entertainment agency, I kind of got wheeled into the stage management because they were like, well, you know everyone here and you're organising everyone anyway, so you may as well be a bit of a stage manager. So then I went into theatre stage management, generally like immersive and interactive shows. Then the dreaded 2020 break happened. I moved country. I went and worked as a project manager for Adidas for a little while, which was kind of helpful, surprisingly. And then started working at an event agency over in Amsterdam. I worked there for a couple of years, and then I learned a lot about the pre-production of festivals. And then moved back, and here I am. So I've kind of gone from creative production to stage management to venue ops.
Brilliant. And back here in Sheffield, right here back in the north. Evie Booth is sat next to Lia. Evie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do in the industry.
So I do freelance events and marketing. I mainly, events-wise, I'm in merch.
Right.
So I'm the one that sells it, sorts out tours, all the fun stuff.
Where the real money is now.
Yeah, true. That's why the prices are so high. But then I'm also more into my marketing. I did a business management degree at uni. Didn't know what I wanted to do, just did it to get out of my town. I liked the marketing aspects. All the units I picked were marketing. Didn't have a clue what I was going to do. Got into merch, and I think that's kind of paved the way for me. So I've done a few little tours, merch, and then I've been to festivals, done like stage management and worked with artists through that. And now, I've done a few music marketing courses with the School of Music Business. And I'm managing a few bands, doing social medias for ticketing companies, for venues, all that stuff.
Amazing. Amazing. Moving around the table to Evie's left, Hannah Pugh, welcome to the Event Industry News podcast.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm here based in Sheffield, which big up. But I'm a freelance event manager. This is my first year freelancing. I managed to take the plunge back in December, which was very scary, but nothing but rewarding since. Before that, I kind of, unfortunately, I was in corporate for a long time, and that was due to the 2020 sort of lockdown. But before that, my main passion is big outdoor music festivals. That's my bread and butter. That's what I do. That's what I've always done since sort of 2018 when I got into it. And it was actually Sarah Nolte and Tramlines that got me into my events management career journey and everything else. So anything, artist liaison, ops, stage, everything that's to do with music festivals. I've been there, done that, gone through the rain, gone through the hard times, but I absolutely love it and enjoy it. And so much so that I've now decided to manage my own company and myself and my skills and everything else and just move out. I'm currently working for White Claw and Mass Plus, but definitely I still think learning through this event, you're always learning, and that's what I love so much about what I do.
We'll definitely get to that in a bit, and we'll touch on to Sheffield as well, because loads of stuff happening. A great place to be an event freelancer. And finally, the person responsible for the great tea today, Emily Hobson. Emily, welcome to the podcast. You've been, sort of behind the scenes helping to facilitate today. So thanks first of all for your help in sort of setting up and letting the podcast come and record here. But tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here at Stream 7.
Yeah, so I am business development and marketing manager. I've been here for about 18 months. So I am actually quite new to the events industry. So I came over to Stream 7. I was previously one of their clients. So I've got a sales and marketing background in a variety of industries. So I've spent time at charities, mainly engineering and manufacturing background as well, which, is quite typical of the Sheffield scene. I started marketing in a steelworks. So yeah, I'm still learning so much as I go along. We specialise in streaming and broadcasting, but do everything sort of end-to-end event production. But I am not technical at all, so this is a massive learning curve for me. I'm learning so much, but I found that the events industry is so welcoming. Like, everyone is so friendly, which I wouldn't say is typical of engineering and manufacturing, particularly as a woman. So this is really refreshing, and yeah, really nice. I'm really happy to have everyone here and be able to host this today. It's really exciting for us.
And just listen to those introductions there around the table. We've all met sort of off camera and off air and their introductions, but actually then having a couple of minutes to listen individually to what you're doing, it always fascinates me how straight away there's similarities. How you all come from different backgrounds, different locations, but everyone's kind of said, oh, well, I did some of this and I've done some of that and I've done some of this. So you're multi-skilled, transferable skills, experience in different aspects of the events industry, whether it's working with venues, with artists, with production. And so straight away I'm thinking, right, well, that's the obvious talking point, isn't it? Transferable skills. There is, from your experience, whether it's been a long time in the industry or a relatively short time, Emily, you've got to be able to do different things. You want to grab the baton and run with that, because I'll come to you, Lia, first. You're in venue at the moment, but again, ticking all those boxes that I just mentioned of the transferable skills.
Yeah, very much so. You've got to, I think it's kind of the name of the game, right? You've got to really, you've got to be adaptable, and you've also, you just, there's so many different facets to it, but I think actually what runs throughout it is the attitude of let's get this done, let's work as a team, and you just pull it together. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And also remember that everyone is winging it.
That's great. You start off your events career and you're like, I know what an event is, and that's kind of how you start it. I know what an event is. I've been to an event,
but now working it, it's not what you thought it was.
And even as you go along, one time you'll have to learn how to use a ratchet strap. I have no idea how to use a ratchet. How on earth do I use it?
Which is a skill in itself.
But and then later on you'll be like, oh yeah, no, I know, and you think, God, this is something that's so trivial and I don't even, I'll never use this skill again. And then one day you're in a pinch and you're like, oh, I remember that. That was from that festival 5 years ago. And you just constantly, even if it's like sewing or something really random, but the flag's now broken and it needs to go back. Well, let's do this. And those sort of transferable skills that you learn throughout life and everything. And I just think that's why events management, I did it as a degree. And I offer it to everybody because it teaches you business values, it teaches you money management, it teaches you time management, project management, and you can take those skills anywhere, even if you don't want to be in events. It's just such a rich knowledge fountain. Really,
and I think it's the first time a ratchet strap's ever been mentioned. On the podcast, but it's such a brilliant example, isn't it? Because you find yourself doing the most weird and wonderful things sometimes at events. Somebody go, "Oh no, we need this to happen in 5 minutes." You go, "Well, I could do that." Do you want to show me? It's got to be done, hasn't it? Ratchet straps are a great one, but like sewing, you go about year 8 haberdashery.
I'm all the time.
Well, you're on the merch stall, aren't you? Yeah. Do you get much call for people customising stuff, or
To be fair, it's getting more popular now. So I can't remember. It was probably about 3 months ago. I was selling T-shirts, and then you could also buy. They were like the football jerseys. And you could buy a pack with like letters on the back to customise them yourself. I had an iron, and I was ironing them on at the back of the merch stand, and would you think, like, if you're not in merch, and you would never be like, right, you're ironing at a show. But I was, and it was good. And I think that worked with the artist as well, because then when people see their merch, they're like, oh, it's personalised. And I think it's a bit more of like a personal thing with that artist, and fans like that a lot now.
Do you find when you working with younger people who are coming into the industry, and Hannah, you mentioned that did event management degrees, and I'm thinking a long time ago we actually did some podcasts and through Event Industry News did some stuff with some event management students on the degree course at Sheffield Hallam University. So again, very apropos, where we are and what we're doing today. And I'm just curious to sort of know what it's like. Do you kind of see yourselves as sort of mentors in some respects when you're working with new people? Do you want to give them some of the experiences that you had that are positive, but also try and convey to them, some of the realities of working in the industry?
Yeah, I think we've got some interns at the moment, and I'm sort of trying my very best to teach them through life and teach them through, different things. Oh, this is like, for example, what time's build and break? What's build and break? These things that you just get so ingrained in your brain, and these like lingo, and you're like, oh yeah, build and break. This is this and this, and you'll have to know this. And so I get so much richness out of teaching them these things, because I just think back to myself when I was at the beginning at university, and everyone said, you shouldn't be going to university, you should just be getting on the job experience. That's the best way to get into events, is on the job, work. And I said, no, I'm going through university, that's how I'm doing it. And I just wanted someone at the time to hold my hand and tell me these things, because I do feel like a lot of the times in events you do sort of just get so wrapped up in, you've got to get stuff done, you've got to, that needs to be there, that you go do that, and it's like, I don't know how to do that. This is the first time I'm doing this, I don't know how to do that. So I very much want to give back that knowledge to people and make sure that just events are great for everybody. And although events are for other people, I feel like building events and managing them is an event in itself, and you do get richness from that, and that's why we stick into it, because you do get that experience from that. So learning from that is always.
Well, maybe we'll get your take on it, Emily, because you said you're 18 months into working with Stream 7, so presumably are you in a position now where you can look back and go, wow, I've known so much more now than I did when I walked in through the door.
Yeah, so obviously before I was here, I used to be on the other side, so I was the client, I was the organising the events. I didn't have a clue what went into the technical production. I'd just be like, I need it filming, or I need this to show on a screen here. So I've definitely learned a lot about the ins and outs and what goes on behind the scenes of events as well, and how hard event organisers work behind the scenes, particularly when we're working with agencies. Like, there's so many different parts and moving cogs. But this is why I think, like you were saying, why the NOWIE group is so good. You can ask any question on that WhatsApp group and somebody will know the answer.
And also, you're not scared to.
You're not
Because
scared.
when I
It's really
first
welcoming.
started, I used to be scared to ask questions. Because I was like, oh, is this too stupid? Like, are they going to laugh at me for asking that? But in this group, like, you could ask anything.
Yeah.
And no one will, like, judge you for anything. Because we were all there once.
Yeah.
So.
It's to have any sort of community or environment that promotes that is good. I remember, I started my career in advertising, selling advertising in print media, before I got into the events industry. And I remember being a young person being so nervous, just to ask a question about something because you didn't want to be seen as being completely stupid. And of course you learn, particularly in events, that the stupidest question is the one that you don't ask.
And it's usually the most important.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing you don't ask the question, get the answer to. Later on, they go, well, why is this not done? Because I didn't want to ask it.
Yeah.
And it's usually the most important thing.
And you find that question is the one that everyone trips upon as well.
Yeah.
And like, oh, well, we all assumed it would be this way, but in the end, you all look at each other and you're like, that wasn't us, and that was very important.
Yeah.
So like, I've totally gotten over the stupid question concept.
Yeah, I don't care anymore. I will ask anything. And even if people do laugh at me, I'll laugh with them.
Yeah.
It might
It's
be.
possibly sometimes often the most important.
Yeah.
Well, I found it's usually something really simple that's been overlooked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like on a
like you
site,
don't think to tell someone.
Yeah.
Like,
Why is that?
Everyone's just
TV
assuming
not
that
plugged
someone
in?
else has done it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why, like, back to what you said earlier, do we see ourselves as a little mentor? Like, I'm only 23, but like, even someone like older than me that hasn't worked in merch, for example, I will try and teach them as much as I can because I needed teaching that, like, once upon a time. I needed someone telling me to do this. So I'll always tell people. And if they don't want me to, then they can say, like, if I'm too much.
Yeah.
But I think it is important. Like, I think with events, everyone's all over the place age-wise. Like, I've been teaching someone that was, like, 20 years older than me.
Yeah.
That also, like, 4 years younger than me. It's completely different.
And I think that's the beauty of it. There is, to a certain extent, if you're in a real specific field, obviously age does add to the wisdom thing. But I think the age thing just goes out the window.
Yeah.
And if you don't know something and someone knows something, then that person tells that person. The age thing just goes. And I find that really refreshing.
It does, and we're also in a constantly developing field.
Yeah.
There's always new things and developments happening. So, like, you can't just be like, oh, I learned that 10 years ago. Like,
We don't do that anymore.
We've got new ways.
It's
and
just
new
something
methods.
new, like, every month. It's crazy, but it's a really exciting place to be.
Yeah.
It is. Nothing's ever the same.
No.
And I like that.
I love that.
It's a common misconception, isn't it, that with age comes experience, because it doesn't, and more so than the events industry, because going back to sort of pathways, everybody's pathway that I've ever met in events is a slightly different pathway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some people come to, I didn't really come into working in events professionally. I've been a freelancer for 15 years, but the first 5 years of that was sort of doing comms work and stuff. So it's probably been, I can say, genuine 10 years of working in the events industry. So I was in my mid-30s. So, if I'm working on a job with people who are much younger than me but much more experienced, the age thing is completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
And going back to what you said about this, the WhatsApp group that you have access to and organisations like NOWIE, to have that ability in any industry to sort of tap into the expertise of people regardless of age, I think is really important, isn't it? It's so... Yeah, so key.
With it being my first year of being a freelancer, little things like, what do I need in my contract?
Yeah.
How do I approach pay? How do I approach negotiations? How do I approach legal battles? I'm 30 years old. I've been in the industry for a long time. These are all completely brand new things to me. And does this contract look okay? This person's paid me late. Do I pay them a late fee? It's those intricacy ones as well that really, really have helped me on my journey and made me feel. And when you're self-employed, you can feel a bit alone. Sometimes you don't have people to bounce off and things like that. And then that kind of is my workplace. That is my office that I go into and I go, guys, can you just check this for me? And things like that. And you just suddenly don't feel so alone. And you get updates as well, like, oh, here's some jobs that are going on. Oh, this festival's having a hospitality night, and this guy, they're having a hospitality Christmas, so you have a Christmas party now. And even though you're self-employed and you work on your own, it is just a community that is very well appreciated.
And I think, like, there's surely got to be more freelancers in events than possibly any other industry. I don't know how true that is. We'll have to fact check it. But and I think that's why it's probably so friendly and welcoming, because everyone's kind of in the same boat and everyone kind of knows each other. You're only like, you talk to someone, you're like, oh, I know them. I'm with them here and stuff like that. So it's everyone's sort of like one step removed, aren't they?
Yeah. And just, I say this every year, but you meet so many fantastic people one year and you go through the whole summer and you meet them at one event.
You probably meet them like 10 years later. Like you wouldn't see them for 10 years.
You meet them like 5 years.
Yeah.
How's things? And their life stories change. But it is, although the events industry is massive and I'm sure you could never meet everyone, you just all seem to feel like one big family. Yeah. It's almost like trauma bonding sometimes. But you do feel like one massive family that have all just been in the pits together.
Yeah.
And I love it.
You're going into the trenches again.
You
meet up with them, don't you, on build day one. You've maybe shared some emails, we've not seen you in a year. Yeah. But straight away, you're kind of like, oh, you got, the venue, artist comes back, you see the production manager, whoever it is, and, it's like, oh, great, I remember working with you guys before, let's work again. I find that our memories and our capacity for remembering things in the event industry is like no other industry. I know we're built on systems and notes and stuff like that, but you just remember stuff from certain clients and they really like to do it this way, or last time we had this issue, so let's preempt that and make sure that we kind of get round it. You have this it's an amazing sort of ability to remember stuff, isn't it, in the industry? One thing I wanted to just going back to sort of the networking. It strikes me as like almost redefining what the term peer group means, because when I was growing up and they referred to your peer group, it was always age specific. Or your peer group is anybody else who is 16 years old or 17 years or 18 years old. And for NOWIE, the peer group is women in events, isn't it? It's a redefining what the peer group is now. And have you how sort of in depth, you've got this WhatsApp group that you've mentioned a couple of times now, but I said that we weren't going to talk too much about NOWIE, but I'm curious to find out a little bit more about sort of the support and the actual meeting up. How often do you get to meet like we are today around a table and just have a chat and a conversation? Is it something that's facilitated?
There's a few like events, like when we were on the train here, we were looking at going to the Sheffield event together.
Right.
Like networking event, was it?
Yeah.
But also, I think it starts, correct me if I'm wrong, October, they do like a little, is it level up mentorship?
Right.
Yeah.
So you can, with someone that's more experienced in the industry, they'll pair you with someone, and I think I can't remember the time frame, but it's like October till like June maybe it finishes, so quite a few months. And you will work with them throughout like your career. They'll give you advice, like regular FaceTimes, you can meet up with them, but more you've got the group as well, but that's to help focused on more like, oh, they're doing exactly what you want to do, this is how you can do it. Which I think's nice.
Go on, Emily.
There's loads of like resources and stuff online that they're really starting to build like a community. I think we were chatting before the podcast, weren't we? We were kind of saying like we don't know how the lady who runs it does it, because there's just so much stuff.
She's a goddess amongst women. I don't know how she finds
like
she's got more hours in a day than Beyonce. I'm sure.
It's so nice. You were like looking for something, you're like, oh, I didn't realise you could find that here. And like I said, that WhatsApp group, sometimes there's messages about, I think, pay, and then the next day there'll be messages about where can I get this from, or does anyone know anyone does this?
Like partnerships with insurance companies, partnerships with like account management software companies, all these other discounts to things that help you with
you can find anything in this group, anything at all. I got my merch count sheet from NOWIE.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So even like software,
but you wouldn't think that you need.
And
Gantt charts and software for things. It's
and I think it's been used by other people in the events industry. It kind of gives you that sort of backup rather than just like googling it and downloading the first thing you can find.
It works,
it's sort of tried and tested.
Absolutely. And we're going back to sort of like some of the mundane stuff, but it's got to be there, you know. And we live in a world, let's face it, where if anybody, regardless of what your role is in the events industry, there's a level of admin that has to be achieved now, from a safety point of view, call it box ticking, call it what you will, but we work, and particularly in the UK events industry as well, that's something else that we should mention, there's a lot to be proud of, because the way we do things and you guys do things when you're, working hands-on at these events is often looked at from other territories as to, well, that's how they do it, so that's how we need to be doing it. Does that, you said, you moved abroad during the pandemic, what's it like from your take? Have you seen examples where, are you aware of sort of other event territories looking in and saying, well, that's how they do it, so that's how we need to do it?
I mainly for like arts and festivals, and I know for a fact that I feel like a lot of countries look to the UK particularly for festival culture and standards of production within festivals. Glastonbury is an obvious one, but also, Boomtown. And also from working, so when I worked in the Netherlands, I was also working quite internationally. I was working with China and Mexico and such, and it was I think we do. I like to think we've got a pretty good rep in the UK.
I hope so.
I think that's we're always looking for each other, rather than there's one that sets everyone else apart. Everyone is always constantly learning from each other. Like, I've worked in Paris and other places, and you do kind of take bits from either side. There's not one standout, I guess.
Yeah, there is. In my opinion, but the festival economy in the UK is
it's insane.
It's huge. I think it's
what we do best.
It's huge, and so the fact that is such a prominent economy, and I know that is not the case in even all European countries.
Sure, yeah.
I think that speaks for itself.
And how it's embraced as well. And I mentioned, at the top that we're back in Sheffield, which was where Event Industry News was born. It's where the Stream 7 HQ is, where we're recording from. And a couple of weeks ago was Tramlines.
Yes.
And it's iconic. It's shaped the city, but the city has shaped the festival in many respects as well, because of its deep-rooted music culture, and everything that the city was about, and how it's in many respects, the festival is indicative of people who work in the event industry, because it's grown organically. It was never contrived and convoluted and, right, we're going to set up a festival, this is what it's going to be. Much like people who go into work in the events industry, they've gone into sort of put a bit of music on in a pub, and 15, however many years later, they find themselves with this behemoth. And what's your sort of hands-on experience with that?
Tramlines shaped me as a person. I moved down from Newcastle. I'm from Rotherham originally, but I lived up north, and I moved down from Newcastle. I was like, I need a job, and I got a job at the Harley. First weekend, I know, at the Harley, the birthplace of Tramlines. Yeah. And I got a job there, and they said, right, first weekend is going to be Tramlines weekend. You're not going to see the light of day. I said, right, okay.
Welcome.
No problem. I'll get stuck in, work the whole weekend. And then the next year I worked the VIP bar at Tramlines. And I'd never worked a festival before, worked anything, worked the VIP bar. And I turned to Sarah and I said, Sarah, how do I do this for the rest of my life? I loved this weekend. And it was just working at a VIP bar. It wasn't even main stage or anything like it was. I said, how do I do this? And she said, I will teach you how to do this. I will take you on as my protege and I will teach you how to do this. So she taught me everything. And unfortunately, obviously, Sarah did sadly pass away. And I kind of took that on and said, I'm going to take everything she's taught me and I'm going to take that on with me. So it shaped me as a person, Tramlines. But Tramlines as a festival, starting from Sarah's brain of going, we've got no one in the bar. How do we get people in the bar when the students go? How do we get people here? And it started from that idea of how do we get people in? And not even just the Harley. It was, how do we get people in town? Other bars.
I just literally started in pub. I can remember years ago seeing I think it was Reverend and the Makers just in a pub before.
And that's how it started.
It was amazing.
How do we get people in the city centre when the students all go? And that is how Tramlines started. Just that one little idea. And it didn't take traffic management, stage management. It was, right, let's get a DJ in a bar, let's get some bands in a bar, let's get, on the street, let's get everyone on the fringe and things like that. And to see that grow into what it is today and it change other people's lives, and it's almost become a ritual of Sheffield, of Tramlines and everything else, and we've become so proud of it. It's that whole journey is so inspiring. And I know I'm biased because I'm from Sheffield and I knew Sarah, but the inspiration that these events can have on people, that's what keeps me going.
Well, you just said you had your light bulb moment, in effect, didn't you?
Yeah.
You got the bug, the adrenaline was pumping, you thought, I want to do this. And what I've just virtually scribbled on my iPad here, light bulb moments. Have you all had I'd be curious to know, have you had light bulb moments in your sort of career or working since you've worked in the events where you've gone, yeah, this is really good and I really love this?
I think probably, yeah, but on the other side, when I was planning an event, I planned an event that we are still involved in actually, called North Star Science School. And it was the first one we'd done, and all my colleagues, it was during sort of the COVID era, I think it was 2021, they all got COVID like 3 days before the event. So I was just completely on my own, but everyone like rallied round and everyone helped me like printing off sheets, doing registrations, sticking stickers on chairs, like, which completely was not part of what they were meant to be doing there. But like, it was just a case of everyone just mucked in and helped out. And I think that is what the events industry is all about. Like everyone will just, if it comes to like crunch time, everyone just pitches in and helps. And I was kind of like, oh, you do like it's really like sort of heartwarming that people will just help you out, even though, you know, they don't need to, they don't have to. But I was just like, oh yeah, this is like planning events. Once you've done an event from sort of start to finish and you see it come to life, and you just, there's no feeling like it. It's like it's your baby, and you're like, seeing everyone enjoy it, you're like, oh, this is incredible.
It's when you're facing main stage and you have a pint in your hand and you go,
this is it.
I do this. I do all of this, and this is you know what?
Yeah.
Crying, everything. It's fine. It's gone now. It's done.
And yet you'll still have a moment either during or immediately after we go, I'm never doing that again.
Every time
why are we doing this? Ridiculous.
I was
Where do I put myself through
I did
this?
Slam Dunk Festival.
Oh yeah.
And the whole day of merch, I think I got there at like 6 a.m. and I didn't leave until like 4 a.m. And my feet were killing me. And I remember I got back to my hotel room and I just laid in bed and went, why do I do this? But then I was just like, because I love it, and I'll do it again tomorrow. And I did do it again tomorrow for another gig. So that's exactly why.
We're speaking about this like it's like labour, like, you know, like giving birth. Because this is how women take birth.
It is. It's your baby.
And then it's there.
Same thing, you know.
I can't comment. Sadly, I can't comment on that one.
It is. It's taking that really hard with the really good, and I think if you didn't have an equal balance of each, it's almost like a bad relationship. You know, you get really bad lows and you're in the rain and your tent's falling down and you have to do a 12-hour shift, but then you have your really, really goods and you really, really, you know, like you say, everything's gone wrong, everyone needs to lift this now, and everyone just chips in, and that it's taking the highs with the low.
I've done marketing campaigns, and then I've sent it to client and they've been like, oh, just one more tweak, and it's been like 20 tweaks, and I've been like that, and I've been like, why do I do this? But then seeing what that campaign's done for the event, how many ticket sales we've got, or like people coming from different countries, then it's all like, it's worth it. I'm like, fair enough. Those 20 tweaks was worth it.
And I bet you've all had that moment, like your own heads, where you go, oh, of course I'm going back to doing it again.
Like,
who am I kidding? Who am I?
What else am I going to do? You know?
I wouldn't want to do anything else, to be honest. People say, like, because I'm 23 and people are like, oh, is this what you want to do for the rest of your life? Yeah, it is. Like, I don't want to do anything else. I've never thought about it. As soon as I got into this, I haven't thought about, oh, should I do that? Should I do that? I've only thought about, expanding my skills to do something else in events as well.
Sure, yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of it. It's not like you're on an assembly line and that's your job for the rest of your life. You are constantly, I fancy doing stage management and learning about that, or arts liaison. I really enjoyed that one time. And you can constantly evolve as a person and do different things. So it isn't just that conveyor belt to the end. It's everything.
And it in some respects, I've got one eye on time, and as we sort of start to wrap up today's episode, you know, it almost brings us full circle to start this conversation when I asked about sort of transferable skills and you know, the evolution and constantly developing. That there is that sort of thematic element, isn't there, to working in this industry, that nobody comes into it and ends up just doing one thing. Because partly that's because the nature of the event demands that you've got to be doing other stuff. But it strikes me that there is a continuing sort of desire and passion amongst people. And I'm also, I think you just sat around the table today is a snapshot of the wider industry of people have a desire to actually improve, don't they, and get better. They want to do it, which again, when we compare to other industries, is not always the same, is it?
No.
It's because it's an industry with our hearts on the line in it, and I don't think you can say that for all the industries. I don't think anyone comes into event management because of money.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I think they do it because we want to do it, because we want to put that together and put that into the world and see that magic and connection happen. So we care.
I still do volunteering positions because I like it.
Yeah.
I don't. Obviously, we all need to live and pay our bills, but I do volunteer because this is what I enjoy to do.
Yeah.
There's an emotional investment there that you've made and committed to, and you know it's never going to change.
Yeah.
Interesting, fascinating, and it's been great to have this conversation around a table. It's been ages since I've done an episode of the podcast where we've had like a group of people around a table and just a chat and a conversation rather than me kind of backwards and forwards with somebody. So it's been brilliant to have a chat today. Let's we should probably just give a shout out for Network of Women in Events, their website, social platforms. Tell us a little bit more about it. LinkedIn group, stuff like that. Who wants to sort of chip in here? We've got presumably if you Google them, you'll find them really easily.
If you go on the website, you can sign up to be a member. It's £20 a year, which is worth it, 100%.
Yeah.
You get so many resources. You make some great friends. There's a WhatsApp group. There's every social media page ever.
Mentoring, there's a lot of discounts.
You get discounts for a lot of things because members of NOWIE work for them. They'll offer discounts. When I worked for Skiddle, we actually did a partnership with NOWIE.
Right.
Because we're the official ticketing partner and stuff like that. Like that got me in there. And that made me aware of it.
Yeah.
So we offered a bit of discount for like uploading events on Skiddle and stuff like that, which so I get stuff that you could upload, like you could offer a discount for something. You make some great friends. I had a well good time with you on the train. And you meet people that you probably wouldn't meet, maybe. Like there's people from everywhere on there. So
all walks of life.
Amazing. Well done, and long may the good work that group does continue. And thank you all for joining us today. Guests today on the Event Industry News podcast: Lia Baron, Evie Booth, Hannah Pugh, and Emily Hobson. My thanks once again to the team here at Stream 7 in Sheffield. Hello. We've got branding, we've got TVs, we've got proper desks set up, real life skilled technicians working behind the scenes to make everything work. Thanks very much to the team from them, and as I said at the very start, do check out stream7.co.uk for a little bit more information on those guys. Before we wrap up today, just a couple of mentions. If you started your journey today by listening to an audio version of today's podcast, wherever you get your podcasts from, please do make sure that you go over to eventindustrynews.com, where you can check out all the latest episodes of the podcast in their video versions, and you can also find and have a look through the A to Z supplier directory. If you work in the industry and you're looking for a product, service or supplier, I can absolutely guarantee you that you'll find what you're looking for over on the eventindustrynews.com supplier directory, as well as the latest news features, special supplements and all that other good stuff that's on the website. Of course, you may have started your journey there today by watching the video version of today's podcast. If you've done that, thank you very much. Please do go in the opposite direction and make sure that you subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your audio podcasts from. Thanks very much for listening, everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode.